For some, a two-row compact or mid-size SUV will get the job done, but for some that need extra room for cargo and passengers, it's the mighty three-row SUV, and it plays a big part in the SUV segment. In fact, I own a three-row SUV, a Toyota Highlander. Other players in this class include the Honda Pilot, the Volkswagen Atlas, and the Ford Explorer, just to name a few. Not to be left out, Kia has come out with their own brand new three-row SUV, and it's called the Telluride. Now, North Americans like things big, and this big Telluride is designed in California and assembled in Georgia, and it's the largest Kia that they make. We all know that big and boxy works. Look at Land Rover or Volvo, for example. Well, this Telluride kind of has that big kind of boxy look. It kind of resembles a little bit of the Ford Flex in the front end, in my opinion. The hood is long, it's flat. You have these vertically stacked LED headlamps, so they're vertical. There's a lot of room in between them where you have that wide tiger nose grille. So it really has a wide planted look. In case you forget where you're driving, big, huge Telluride letters on the hood there. On the bottom, you have functional vents. Now in Canada, we only get the EX and the SX trims. So the EX was the base model. It comes standard with 18-inch rims. The SX comes with 20-inch alloys on here. Standard are power folding mirrors. I really like how they've applied the molding and some of the accents on here. It looks bold with that cladding, yet it's quite elegant. The back end, it drops off, but not too sharply. You have a nice roof spoiler, and you have vertical tail lights on the SX Limited and up. They are LED, and just like the front, you have the big, huge Telluride. Now, someone mentioned to me what I thought about the single side tailpipes, and I didn't even notice until I looked. And yeah, there's a dual exhaust on the right side, but there's nothing on the left, and it just does look a little bit unbalanced now that it's been pointed out to me. So yeah, if they could have split that up or something, it just looks like there is something missing. But anyways, let's go inside and have a look in the back. You hear that? That's a smart trunk. I have the key fob in my pocket, and as long as I stand close to the trunk, it's going to open automatically for me. This is standard on all Canadian Tellurides, and I just want to show you how much utility, how much space there is back here. And this is definitely larger than my Toyota Highlander with the third row of seats up. So we have a camera bag here. That doesn't take a huge amount of room, but this is my travel trunk that we travel with, and it's big. You can see it's a good sized bag, and that fits in here with that third row up, which is impressive because a lot of times when you're carrying other people in the back, you kind of have no room in the rear cargo area. This has a decent amount of room, 21 cubic feet or 601 liters of storage. And if you want more, underneath here, you lift that up, and it's actually quite deep. The Highlander has something similar, but definitely not as big as this. So yeah, you want to put things that you want to hide so people don't see anything, put that under there. Lots of room. Also, you have a 12-volt outlet, and you have two buttons for the second row to put those down, so you can remotely push those and those seats will fold down. And when you have all the seats folded down, you have a huge amount of flat storage space. So let's see what it looks like on the inside. At first glance, I really like these two grab handles with the integrated seat heat and ventilation on the top of them. These handles kind of are a little bit reminiscent of, who do you think? How about a Porsche Cayenne or the new Mercedes GLE? So they're really trying to achieve a premium look in this vehicle. Behind the steering wheel, this SX gets a 7-inch digital display surrounded by the two analog clusters. A standard is a 3.5-inch display. Now, one thing, not just on this Telluride, but even on some of the more premium Korean brands like Genesis, that I want to criticize is their gauges. There's nothing wrong with them. They're very functional. They just kind of look plain, and if you match it with everything else, they just kind of seem out of place, in my opinion. In the middle, you get a standard 10.3-inch screen. These are the Canadian models here, and it's a touchscreen. It's quite responsive. It has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard equipment. This is equipped with a 360 camera and a backup camera as well. Down below that, you have buttons, which are really nice, easy to use. So you have redundant buttons. You have a favorite button, good to use for your smartphone. And then you have a heated steering wheel, which is standard on this one. Now, if you go into the limited model, you actually get heated and cooled seats in the back as well. This one doesn't have that. Below this, you have two USBs up front here, and a 12-volt outlet and wireless charging. So very, very well equipped. We open up the middle and there is another USB. There are a ton of USBs here. So you have two up front, you have another one there, you have one on each seat for the second row, and you have two in the back for the third row as well. So no need to be unconnected in this vehicle. Standard, you get a power moonroof, and on the SX and above, you get two moonroofs. Base models get full leather seats. The SX and the SX Limited get leather seats, and then there's the SX Limited with Napa leather if you want to go all out. The fit and especially the finish is absolutely perfect on this interior. Sure, this wood trim is not real wood, but it looks like real wood, so why not? And I like this brush trim. Fingerprints don't really show up on it very easily, and same as the outside as well. So let's go look in the back. Okay, so you buy a three-row SUV because you need to move people around, right? So how do people fit? These seats go back and forth. We have it set about the middle right now. And so the front seat is set for where I'd be sitting. I'm just under 5'11". And right now in the rear seat, I have knee room. I'm not hitting. And I have ample room for my feet. There is a small little hump back here, so it's not too bad. Also, you have another 12-volt outlet, a 110-volt, 150-watt inverter plug there. I like utility when you get SUVs, and small little things make a big difference to me, like the hooks. It's a simple thing. Yes, these hooks in the seat backs, but they're so handy when you have groceries. I do all the grocery shopping in the house, and I hate things flying around. Sure, you can get bins, but why not just throw in a hook? I mentioned you have the USBs on the side. So let's see how much it slides back and forth. So that's all the way back. That's tons of room. You don't need that much room really, but if you didn't have anyone in the back. But let's just say that we need to fit some people back there. Let's move it back to about here, just like that. Now, one thing that's really cool is on the top of the seat and also on the base, there is a button. Now, one touch of that button folds the seat down and slides it forward. It's a one-touch operation. Let's check out the back. Okay, so one touch. We're on a little bit of a hill right now. All right, so let's move this back. We've moved back exactly where it is. So that is the exact spot the seat was in for me sitting there, and this is the third row. This has way more room than our Highlander for the third row. Highlander is kind of for kids, but what this would be useful for me is I would probably put the kids back here if I had to have adults in the second row, like someone like my parents who need a little bit of help in mobility wise, so it'd be better to throw them in the second row. There is actually 3 seat belts back here for 3. I wouldn't want to go that far for 3, but for 2, absolutely no problem at all. You get a headrest, and these actually recline as well. I am limited a little bit because of the big travel trunk that I have in the back, but this is ample room. So yeah, good job Kia on the back seat on the third row. All right, family hauler wouldn't be a family hauler without the family. And just to show how much room this 3-row has, we have people in all 3 rows. Myself, the 2 girls, the little girls, and the big girl back there, Cynthia. So I showed you earlier when we were inside how much room it has. And Cynthia, how's it back there?
Really spacious. I'm pretty tall. I can still have my legs not touching the front.
Okay, so her legs are not touching the seat back of the second row, and the second row I have them moved all the way back just so the kids don't complain about having no room. So that is a huge improvement over our Highlander. Now, a couple other things that we really noticed on this compared to our Highlander is the quietness. It's actually very isolated. It's really quiet. And there's one feature that Cynthia really liked, and that's the blind spot viewing monitor. So in that digital display behind the steering wheel, when you turn your signal on, left or right, let's go to the left right now, it actually has a camera shooting backwards. So it's perfect to see those blind spots. Also, you know, if there's a bicyclist coming up or anything, and it's really good because you really don't have to take your eyes too much off your field of vision at all. So we're stopped at a light here. We have auto hold as well because it has an automatic parking brake. Let's talk about the engine. It's a 3.8 liter V6 engine. It puts out 295 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. And that's matched to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, we mentioned in Canada, we only get the two models, the EX and the SX, and they only come in all-wheel drive. We do not have an option to get two-wheel drive with the Telluride. Later on, when we try the new Hyundai Palisade, that one does come in a two-wheel drive option for Canada, and we'll get that in a couple weeks. Now, there are different drive modes on this vehicle. There is comfort, there's sport, there is a setting called Smart, which we have it in right now. And what that does is that it just analyzes how you're driving. If you're driving kind of just very mellow for a long period of time, it's going to go into eco mode by itself. And if you want something more dynamic when you're driving a little more aggressively, it's going to adjust for that. Now, this does not have an adjustable suspension. However, you can get an auto leveling feature on some of the higher trim levels. Now, if you need to tow, this Telluride will pull 5,000 pounds, which is pretty normal for this class of vehicle. And a couple other things that we noticed, it's got tri-zone climate control, but these, the air vents in the back, they're on the top of the roof in the center, kind of centered to the passenger. The ones that we have on our Highlander are to the side, basically by the curtain area. And the biggest difference there that we've noticed is the kids can adjust theirs on the Highlander. On these ones, they're too far up above and they can't adjust it. One thing this has, which is handy if you have kids, is it has this Talk Now feature, driver talk. Hey kids, you be quiet back there. And that includes you back there, Cynthia, too.
Sound like a tour guide.
Yeah, you can be your instant tour guide right now. Okay, I'm going to end that right now. And so that's kind of handy. We have that in our Highlander as well. They call it driver speak, I think. So essentially the same thing. This one's a little bit louder though. So yeah, if you have kids, this is really good. Like we mentioned in Canada, we get two models. We have the EX that starts at $44,995. And then the S6, which we have here, which is $5,000 more at $49,995. The SX Limited adds a premium Harman Kardon system, LED taillights, 360 camera, and a head-up display for $3,000 more. And then there's the SX Limited with Napa leather, and that's $1,000 more. So the top model goes for $53,995. The Telluride is equipped with a ton of advanced safety and driving features. You have the blind spot monitoring, the video camera, you have lane keeping assist, frontal collision alert. And one thing I've noticed though, these things are very active. I like how if you're drifting off in a lane, not only is it active, it's going to bring you back, but you get a very loud audible alarm, and the steering wheel vibrates, especially if you're actually backing into traffic in a parking lot. Happened a few times, and it's a little bit alerting, which is good. That's what it should be. But another feature that this has, and pretty well all the Hyundai products in the future are going to have, is a rear occupant alert, meaning that it'll sense if there's someone in the back seat, and if you open the door and you close it, it's going to remind you that there is someone back there. That is a huge thing, and that's going to save lives, hands down. So the question is, would we take this Telluride over the Toyota Highlander, which we have now. Keep in mind though, there is a 2020 Highlander coming out. We haven't tested yet because it's not out. But based on this Telluride and the current Highlander, I don't know. Kids, would you take this one over our car? Which one?
This one.
This one, they say. Reason being, it has more room. I think it's smoother. It has a better drive. It has more features, like a lot more features. It's a very, very nice family vehicle. Now there is one big difference between the Highlander and this Telluride, and that is resale. Of course, this is a new vehicle. We don't know what the resale is going to be yet, but we do know Toyotas have great resale, and that's the reason why a lot of people buy Toyotas. But they've been at this game for a lot longer than Kia has, and Kia has been winning awards left and right, and they've been at the very top of initial quality surveys year after year with JD Power and Associates. And I think it's only a matter of time that resale values are going to climb up on vehicles like this Telluride. So thanks for joining us on this family review of the new Kia Telluride. So long. Farewell. Bye.
Bye.
If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up, and if you want to see more everyday reviews, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.